It's time to play ball. Welcome to the podcast with no limits. Whether it be sports, current events, or random thoughts, this is the place to step in and stay a while. Your host is a proud alumnus of Rio Hondo Prep, a former minor league baseball umpire, and a man with strong opinions. Welcome to the Get Home Safe podcast and your host, Matt Hersema.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Get Home Safe. I know I have been tardy once again, not having the weekly episode and all, but here we are. We're back for another episode and going to try to get back in the weekly routine here. I think routine is good. And, you know, when you take a break from something, when you don't stay in a routine, it's so easy, no matter what it is. And podcasting is just like that, where you're used to doing something all the time. For me, I'm all about rhythm. It helps me to continue to do something. Consistency, right? Consistency is, I wouldn't say a huge part of success, but I think consistency really helps you achieve goals and at least keeps you motivated to do those things. And so here I am back on the podcast. I know it's been 2 weeks, and I said last time as March Madness was starting that, I'll do this weekly. I promise I'm going to get to it, man. I just life gets busy sometimes, and we'll keep this thing going as long as we can. But it's Sunday night here on the Get Home Safe podcast. I will be busy this Tuesday evening. So I thought, why not? Let's just do something Sunday. And I might do that in going forward. I don't know why I waited so long today to get this going, but here we are, another episode as promised. So I hope you guys have had great weekends. It has been a great week for me, a busy week for me, and a fun week for me, I guess is the best way to say it. I'm rocking my Kings shirt here, one of them anyway. I went to the Kings game yesterday on Saturday as they defeated the Winnipeg Jets 4-1. A little matinee action, 1:00 puck drop, and I hadn't been to a game in a while for a lot of different reasons that I'm sure you guys could figure out, but it was great being back. My good friend Danny Cortez offered me the tickets. It was Rams night at the game, so there was a little backpack giveaway that says my two favorite teams, the Kings and the Rams, on the backpack, and so that's going to be my new work bag for sure. And it was great. Matthew Stafford was there to kind of bang the drum as the puck dropped to start the game. My good friend Hank Lemoyne from up in Winnipeg, you know, I sent him a message saying I was at the game. He's a huge Winnipeg Jets fan, so it was cool to be back. And man, I really do love hockey. I wish I could watch it more. I need to watch it more like I do the NFL and my Rams and everything. But you know, you just get busy and you can't watch every game. But one thing I did when I was there is I was like, you know what? I was kind of itching. I'm like, I really want to get like not a season ticket, but I want to be like I want to be a mini plan holder or something, whatever the phrase is. You know, there's little mini plans you can do for Kings games or any sport really, but it's you see it a lot in sports that have a ton of games like baseball or hockey or basketball. But I want to do like a little mini season plan, maybe a quarter season, you know, 10 or 12 games, whatever the option is. And I think that would be a lot of fun. It's not too expensive. It's something that if you budget just right, I think you can make happen. So I'm going to do that. I think next year, little goals, right? It's important to set goals, and maybe that's not a big goal, but it's something that as I'm an adult now, at least on paper, that I thought, you know what, that would be really cool to have. Maybe twice a month, go to a Kings game. Cause I was always like, I don't know. I try to get to games when I can, but unless someone had tickets or had a connection, I didn't get to too many. So if the price is right, I'm making a little bit more money now. I got to watch my money still. You know, I'm still budgeting and balancing the books, if you will. And I don't think you ever truly get perfect at that. So I got a long way to go, but at the same time, I'm happy to be supporting the LA Kings, who are going to be headed to the playoffs here soon. And it's a fun time of year, man. I mentioned a few weeks ago, you know, March Madness, of course, and what a tournament it has been. The Final Four is official now. The Final Four teams, the Frozen Four of college hockey is also set. What was I just mentioning? The NHL playoffs are around the corner. College baseball is in full swing, and then Major League Baseball gets going here very, very soon. I think next weekend, maybe, or sometime this week even. I'm not sure the date for sure, but it is starting up. And I gotta say, man, after that World Baseball Classic, if you didn't like that, Oh, you're not a baseball fan. I mean, and I know that like soccer gets all this support and notoriety because they do this international competition, and that's the only time you could say world champs for some reason. Even though I did happen to see it was all over all of the Lakers banners yesterday when I was at Staples. So for those of you that think that is a false statement, a false title, well, maybe you should not what's it called when they maybe you should denounce the Lakers world championships for you big Laker fans out there who are so adamant that world champions should never be used. But I digress. I am here to be a man of the people and to ramble and rant into this microphone once a week as promised. And these shows might even be shorter from here on out, although once I get going, I usually come up with something. So anyway, great time of year with sports. The World Baseball Classic, man, was phenomenal. I mean, there was a few days there where I was glued to the TV. The quarterfinal, the semifinal, the final against Japan. I mean, what a nail biter that was. And Japan, man, that the Japanese baseball tradition is just second to none in their execution, their attention to detail, the fundamentals. And they just go out there and play, man. And they are so fun to watch. I don't know the comparison in like other sports for other teams in other countries, how one country just plays the game a certain way and it just completely separates itself from everyone else out there. That's what I really liked with the World Baseball Classic, is that you see the various styles from the different countries. You see the Venezuelan style, you see Team Mexico, Japan, as I mentioned, the US. I mean, that lineup was unbelievable, even though they only got 2 runs in the final there against Japan. And I got to call out, Major League Baseball, especially, pitchers. Okay, the US, they put forward a pretty good team, but of course, some of the game's biggest and best pitchers did not show up for the WBC. And I understand you're not getting paid extra for it. It is it's a little mini season before your season gets going, really. There's risk of injury, even though, we saw injuries, a guy celebrating. It's not so much just stress on the arms. I would really like to see the United States pitchers get out there, and maybe I don't know, maybe you get a ton of guys, maybe you get more pitchers than you need so that guys can just throw a couple of innings here and there. I don't know what the answer is. All I know is teams like Japan seem to figure it out. Shohei Ohtani, who is probably going to make the biggest contract splash in baseball history here because he's a two-way player. He's got to be worth $500 million. You got to imagine in his future contract that's coming up. He's out there playing, a guy that will be worth more money than any player who has ever played the game, and will probably be the biggest contract just because of the whole two-way thing. He's out there playing. He's out there representing his country. How come he can do it and not some of the other, aces in the U.S.? I don't know. I don't know if it's an entitlement thing, if it's the fact that I make $30 million a year. I'm not going to go play some exhibition. I don't want to risk hurting myself. I just hate that attitude, man, because every day we get in a car, there's a risk that we could get in an accident, right? We don't know what we're going to see at work. We don't know what we're going to see if we stop at a mall somewhere or go to lunch somewhere. We don't know what could happen. There's a lot of unanswered questions or potential risk factors out there. And so to play the game all the time, well, what if he gets hurt? What if he gets hurt? Safety, right? Safety uber alles, safety above all. I just don't buy it. And like, you look at these, I know baseball is different because of the arm stress, and, there's a few guys that are, out for the year now. Things happen, man. Things happen. It's sports, it's competition. I don't know if I know for years in like the Olympics, the NBA didn't send its best guys or whatever. And, there was, guys could get hurt. And it was after the season. So there was that, right? But I think with the World Baseball Classic, I've always said the All-Star game in Major League Baseball, it's the best All-Star game, because there's no, like, in the NBA one, no one's playing any defense. In the football one, it was just a joke. It's two-hand touch. But in baseball, it's going at each other. Barry Bonds versus Eric Gagne, or vice versa, however you want to say it. When that happened in the that wasn't an All-Star game. That was that was just a Dodger Giant game back in the day. But like some of the matchups you see in the MLB All-Star game, this is incredible. And The final at bat with Mike Trout against Shohei Ohtani was so awesome. And the fact that Shohei starts him off with a slider, then gives him 2 fastballs at 100 miles an hour. I mean, right down the challenging Mike Trout, his teammate, his buddy, and arguably the best overall player in the game other than, Ohtani. And then for him to then throw a 3-2 slider, when everything matters, 1-run game, and gets Trout to swing and a miss. I mean, it was so poetic. And there are the baseball gods are alive and well. I'm a firm believer in that. And the WBC, I hope they bring it back and play it every 3 years. That's how it used to be. And now it's kind of every 4 years. But I know Mike Trout did a great job of recruiting guys and trying to get the best players out there. It was an awesome lineup. And I mean, Trey Turner with that grand slam in the quarterfinal against Venezuela. How awesome was that? I mean, the blowout against Cuba. And then the back and forth really with Japan, U.S. stranding runners multiple times. It was awesome to see. And it's almost like this letdown. You got all this intensity in the WBC, and then it's like, all right, now the major league season is starting. Opening day is cool and everything, but all right, it's a long season, 162 games in 6 months or whatever it is. And it's almost like you go from this super high to this, all right, now let's just get back to the routine and everything, which again, as I said in the opening, is somewhat is a good thing, or can be. So I don't know what the answer is for the WBC. Do you play it at the end of the season in like November? I don't think anyone's going to want to do that. Do you play it? You take a break in the middle of the year and play for a few weeks and just do it really, really quick. I mean, what is the answer? I don't know. Baseball's long enough. I've always said Major League Baseball should be about 100 games. I think that's more than enough, but that'll never change because of all of the money that is brought in. And I understand that. And that's with any season, shortening a season. Football and basketball and hockey. I mean, 50, 60 games. I think that's plenty. That's just me though. What do I know? I'm just a podcaster here rambling away. So the WBC was awesome. I know the US didn't do it or finish it and win it, but it was so cool to watch. And even the non-baseball fans out there, they even chimed in a little bit. Of course, the trolls on social media, they got to say their 2 cents to always feel important. It's like some things you just leave alone. If you're not interested in it, like soccer, I'm not interested in soccer. And I know I vented about it a little bit, probably more than I should have. But if you really don't like something, you probably should just let it be and let the people that enjoy it. And I think that's why I like boxing. I like college baseball. I like hockey because it's different. Most people love football, basketball, and baseball too. But I like liking the things. I don't want to be forced to like things that everyone else does, right? I'm not a sheep. I don't go that way. We all like different foods, different TV shows, and I think sports is the exact same way. So great WBC. Can't wait for the next one. And I hope that the United States will find a way to get their best arms out there, because I mean, they have to. You got to find a way to do that, because the teams like Japan, even Mexico, I mean, they're going to put their best guys out there and try to win this thing, because it matters. It matters more, matters more in the SEC for college football. Well, it matters more to certain countries as far as I mean, I saw the Japanese people like watching this game in the middle of the day or whenever it was, and just 90% of the country or something was watching. And that was just so cool. And I did get my Netherlands WBC hat. I didn't wear it tonight, but I did get that pretty cool hat, and pretty cool. I think the hats, the uniforms are just awesome. I love the Japan lid's pretty sweet. Mexico, I like Cuba. The Netherlands, I'm a little biased to. The US hat is pretty sweet. Just the US, us. It literally says us on the hat, which is awesome. But an underrated uniform was Great Britain. They were terrible. Their uniforms were awful. They should have had red coats like they had in the Revolutionary War, and then as the British are known to do, just kind of fold in like the 7th inning, just totally be in charge, and then losing to the Americans or whoever. That would have been very fitting. But the JV, like Great Britain across their chest, is looked awful. Be better, Britain. Be better. I like Team Israel's uniforms, the Star of David, I think, on their hats. That was pretty neat. So some cool unis, some cool again vibes. Team Italy, of course, that seemed like a fun group, and just the ability for guys to get out there and represent their country or have some ties into who they're representing. Really, really cool. I mean, I'm a guy, I was at the Kings game yesterday, and the Canadian national anthem played. And although I'm a United States citizen and proud of my country, I do have a little heritage that goes back to Canada. My grandmother on my mom's side, who I never met, she died when my mom was in her 20s. But she was from Quebec, and French Canadian, came down here and met my grandfather. So I know the words to that Canadian national anthem. And although I probably sing the US one a little louder, doing all the baseball I've done over the years up in Canada, it's kind of like you just know the words. It's a catchy tune. So yeah, not a bad anthem indeed, and kind of a nice little tribute to the family history, the family heritage. And that's why I got the Netherlands hat, man, because I was like, wait a minute, I don't have really anything that says Netherlands on it. I've been to the Netherlands, been to what is that city that starts with an A? It's like Amsterdam. Yeah, that's the one. Amsterdam. Been there. That's an interesting place, let me tell you. But just great history in the Netherlands, and the Dutch people and everything. So I should know more, but it's just, hey, people, Hersma, what is that? And it's like, it's Dutch. It's a Dutch name. It's most of the SM, if something ends in SMA, SMA, that's pretty much what it is. So you get a lot of those in the Netherlands. But anyway, I digress once again. Cool to see all the different countries participate. And what I think is one of the best tournaments out there, hands down, better than that soccer World Cup stuff. Give me the baseball one more often, and yeah, far more intense than that communist kickball stuff. So I had a few moments out while working that back to, yeah, real quick before I get to a couple things I've learned from work and interaction with people, which I find funny. Again, Saturday Kings game was great. Then one of our friends, as a day game, 1 o'clock, we were done by 4:30, 3:30, 4 o'clock. And it was on my way back, and one of our friends was like, hey, let's go to the comedy club tonight at Brea. And someone was like, man, all right, well, we got to rally and we'll make it happen. So we went and did that in Brea, saw the comedy club, a great Saturday all together. Kings game during the day, came home for dinner, and then went out to the comedy club. I mean, it was quite a good time. Friday was low key, stayed indoors. A Thursday, actually kind of kicked the weekend off early because had a rather big event transpire that I will get to in a moment, that I want to tell you guys about. But first, something from work, and we've all been there. We've all been expecting a package, right? And there's two phrases that I've heard repeatedly, and I just find hilarious because I know that I've said them as a package receiver, and also as I've heard them as a package deliverer. So two phrases that come to mind. And I typically, on average, I would say I have around, right now, Christmas is different, but I say I have around 60 deliveries every day, and probably 20 pickups at businesses usually, or whatever, where you go and you take all the freight that they're shipping out. And, it's a cycle of life, whatever it is. But there's two phrases that I've been hearing, and it's really funny. You go into a business, and this is no knock on anybody. It's not a knock at all. It's just something I find hilarious. And you get there, and maybe in the afternoon or something, and you hear from the customer, I've been waiting on this package all day. And they're saying it in a respectful way. They're happy that you're there finally, but they've been waiting on it all day. Almost like, hey, I wish you had come sooner. And so you're kind of in like, well, there's 59 other stops on the route today that probably would have liked to have their package earlier in the day. And you could pay for, priority service and everything. But in general, if you're in that, like, those 40 other packages that aren't priority, you get there when you get there. And it's not like you are withholding something from someone. And so I understand the desperation, but it is rather funny when someone gets their package at, say, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock instead of like noon. And it's like, oh man, I've been waiting for that all day. Oh, man, I wish I had known that. And I looked at my list here and would have randomly guessed which guy was expecting the package earlier, and I would have gone there first. I would have, had I known that, but I have no inability to do that. So again, just something I find funny, because we say things sometimes that we don't really mean, or we don't know how to say it or why we're saying it. And so It's something I'm having fun with. Like, it's not a negative thing or a slap at customers by any means. I want to make that clear. It's just something I thought, oh man, I've been waiting on this all day. I was like, well, so have 58 other people. You're not the only package today. So I don't know. Maybe you guys don't find that as like funny as I do, but like I hear things throughout my day from I truly dissect what people say sometimes and probably overanalyze this stuff. But yeah, I hear that. Oh man, I've been waiting on this one all day. I'm like, man, I wish I had known that. My bad, man. I wish I had known. And some people, some businesses, some places, you kind of know, all right, they close early. So maybe they close at 2 or 3 o'clock. So yeah, you want to try to get those people. But it is rather funny that, and I think there's a lot of this kind of, again, this going on around the world, around the country, this very like, I don't even know what you call it. The inability to kind of self-reflect and look that, hey, there's probably other people who are waiting on packages also. I hope they get to me eventually. And, sometimes you're passing businesses. It's just the way the route goes. You're trying to do things in a timely manner, but it's been fun, man, learning this whole process. And it's been 6 months now, 5 months since going full time and in Thanksgiving. And I've really enjoyed it. I've made plenty of mistakes and have learned from them, but I have enjoyed the process. Another phrase I heard recently. It's kind of a related story, but a ton of rain the past few weeks, and like you knock on some of these doors, and it's pouring rain, and then people open the door, and it's like, oh man, it's really raining hard out there. It's like, yeah, it is. Can we open the door? Like, can we make the transaction out? Because it's raining. And some people get it, but it was kind of related to this. So we had some delays with all the weather and flight delays and everything. So we had some packages that were that came in later. Again, some priority stuff that usually has to be delivered in the morning. It came later, and it was kind of more of that like, man, I've been waiting for the package all day. And again, that's understandable when it's supposed to be in the morning, and then it doesn't come till later. But what I found funny was the comment was made to me. Again, it was rained hard for multiple days in a row. And it just got me thinking when someone said something very nicely, it said, man, you guys are running a little behind today. And I went, yeah, I guess we are. I do apologize that the package that you requested probably yesterday at some time was picked up probably in another time zone, possibly another country, definitely another state, was picked up in a truck, taken to a station, separated there, put on another truck that was then sent to an airport that then landed hopefully on time, but there were probably flight delays because flights have been crazy the past few months. You throw in all the weather, there's multiple delays, there's the plane lands, the freight gets offloaded, separated once again into multiple trucks that is then destined to the station closest to you, hopefully in a timely manner. And then it is again separated once more at that time and put on a truck that is then supposed to be in a specific order during that day, delivered to you, and you get your overnight package more than likely in a timely manner. But yes, we are running a little late today after all of those elements, we'll say. So I was a little triggered maybe, but I said, yeah, we're running late. That this is not just, it doesn't just involve, I don't know how Amazon does it. It seems like they always have product of whatever you need there in their store or in their warehouse, but it's not like I got a ding on my phone, looked around, grabbed a package, and then drove it to you. It's like there was so many other elements and factors that went into the process. It's an amazing system. I am definitely amazed at how it all works sometimes, especially when I have to do some of the paperwork and fill things out correctly. And it's like, wait, this is going to what country? And it's like, man, this is going to be in China tomorrow, or the Virgin Islands or this is going to, tomorrow in the early AM, this will be there. And so I love what we do for that reason, that our job is to be the world on time, right? And to get people things overnight in a timely manner, in a safe manner, get home safe, of course. But it's just funny sometimes the interactions when, people are, it's like Christmas gifts, man. If you're when you're a kid and you're waiting by the tree, like, when can we open it? When can we open it? I mean, especially the businesses, and it does my heart good. Like when you go into these businesses in the mornings and you got their package for them that they're depending on, that they probably can't go about their work day without this paperwork or this package or whatever. And so there's like this sense of people depend on you type of deal to do your job. And so that's something I really, really like about it. As I've told you guys multiple times on the podcast, just about how I don't know, you feel a sense of purpose. And when you fail, which I've done, or mess up, you feel it. You feel that your customers suffer. Um, it's a little bit of everything. And so I enjoy the little missions every day. And you guys probably didn't tune in to hear the life of a FedEx driver, but it's something that keeps me going and keeps me motivated to wake up every morning, bright and early, or dark and early, I should say, and get off to work and another mission, and hopefully not make too many mistakes throughout the day because people are depending on you. And so I really enjoyed that, and I'll give you guys some more little sequences or events that pop up here and there on the life, the delivery and pickup life. Because man, we get busy too sometimes. I'm just like, oh, why is it so crazy right now? Anyway, not crying about my job. I enjoy the job very, very much. So I talked to you about Thursday night. Something that happened Thursday night for me was I was initiated finally into the Elks Lodge. I became an official elk. I can't tell you too much about it because it is a rather secret society, if you will, or not exactly, but what is it? I should know these things. The protective POE Protective Order of Elk. I messed it up already. But anyway, if you guys have ever heard of the Elks, I became a member of Ontario Elks Lodge. It's a pretty simple process. You just have to answer a few questions and go through a rather like ritualistic, old school initiation process on Thursday night. So that's what happened on Thursday. It was really cool. And why I'm proud to be a member of the Elks organization is because in summary, man, it's God and country. They are very patriotic. They do a lot of great things, charitable work. They're huge support of veterans, of our Constitution. They want their members to believe in God. They're open. They ask you that question. And so it's a very patriotic organization. It's something that's been around an awful long time. Everyone I know who's been a part of it has enjoyed it and told me, oh, you should join. And I was like, yeah. And so I finally took the plunge and became an official elk member. And their four pillars, man, are charity, justice, brotherly love, and why am I drawing a blank here? It's a Sunday. Fidelity, excuse me. So loyalty, basically. And anyway, so how can you not be behind those things, and so they do great work. Again, ton of charity. It's a great place to go socialize. They have dinners throughout the week. They do karaoke things as well. It's just a place where you feel a sense of community. You hear that word a lot, and I've made fun of it before. Like everyone needs a community. It's like, well, this is a place to go and also give of your time and to give to others as well. And very like-minded people, we'll say, and people that are committed to, again, God and country. And so it's something that I'm very proud of the fact that I did join and became a member. And yes, I was definitely one of the younger members. Even now, it's a rather elderly group, but some of the people I've talked to, they joined in their 20s or 30s, and they've been around a long time. And so I don't care. It's not about a status thing or to be the cool kids club or whatever. I like being a part of things that I can support. I can get behind. That's why I talk big about FedEx. I'm proud to work for that company. I'm proud now to be an Elks member. I'm proud of my alma mater, Real Hondo Prep, and specifically their football program. And I put a lot of work into the Charge to Keep podcast for that very reason. When you're a part of something, it gives you this sense of purpose, really. And I've talked to some people that really maybe don't have that in their life. And I'm so blessed to have so many different friends and so many different walks of life that I do feel purpose every day. And sometimes it gets stagnant or not necessarily boring, but there's time available when you should maybe be doing some other things. And that's fine. That's a good time to rest and to recoup and be ready to go. But I mean, having that sense of purpose that when you wake up every day to go do something, productive and contribute to society, that's a real thing. And so is being a part of something, whether you're in a church group or whether you're in coaching a little league team or whatever it may be. I think we all need to be a part of something. And a lot of people, I think, try to dive into their church, or they do volunteer time, even something like playing golf or something, like to routinely do something that helps to let out maybe some frustrations, or just something that's different maybe than work. I think that's healthy. But being a part of something, and you could say, well, that's why you have families and you do, you do that down the road or whatever. But being a part of something really means something to me, and that's something I think from stepping away from umpiring and officiating, but baseball umpiring specifically, there has been somewhat of a that empty feeling a little bit, like, what's the next thing I'm going to be a part of? And so I still talk to my umpire buddies. I still stay in touch with them, but I'm still at peace with walking away. But that was the hardest part, is like not feeling a part of a bigger thing, something bigger than you. And so I think I found that now in joining up with this Elks Lodge, this Elks community, and also being somebody that not being somebody, but being someone that assists with this whole Rio Hondo thing. I mean, I'm very content. My heart is pretty full, and I got good friends, good people, good family. But the ability to contribute to my alma mater, my high school, is something I am truly blessed and able to do. And then to be a part of this Elks community, I'm pretty excited about it, man. It's going to be really, really cool. And if nothing else, you get to meet some like-minded people and learn from them. Well, that's something that I won't take for granted by any means also. So looking forward to that going forward. But I wanted to tell you guys about that here on the Get Home Safe podcast, because it was a big step. It was a big I don't know. It's not a huge moment or achievement or anything. It's pretty much if you answer a few questions and commit to a few things, you're pretty much in, and you pay the dues and everything. But it's cool being a part of something that, especially something that's been around a long time. And I'm a Kings fan. I'm a Rams. That's different. That's being a fan of teams. But when you cheer for maybe a school you went to, I think that just means a little bit more. And so that's a big reason why I did this Elks thing. I joined them, and a few of my friends that are already members, it's like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. And there's lodges all over the country that you can go to, and there's usually something going on, and ability to check in on them. And again, people that are like you, we'll say, and maybe share values with them. I think that's really, really important to do. So taking that leap last week on Thursday was quite fun, and something that yeah, I'll never forget. There was little rituals and things I had to go through that some might find a little embarrassing, but not me. It was they weren't meant to embarrass you. It was just it's like going back in time a little bit, which was really cool. And I like things that are old. I shouldn't say old, traditional. I'm a big traditional guy. So to see something that has been going on for so long, I really, really like that stuff. And so wanted to support it and become a member. And I'm very, very happy that I did. Two quotes that I wrote down that I just want to kind of briefly go over. And it's something I think that is, man, this phrase itself is really, really simple. And if you really use this phrase in just any walk of life you go through, I think you're going to be successful. I really, really do. There's a lot of great quotes, a lot of great Bible verses and things, but this is one that has always stuck with me. And the quote is very simple. It says, "Don't let compliments get to your head, and don't let criticism get to your heart." Has always stood out to me. This was big for me in officiating. People would always, "Oh man, you're so good. You're so great. You do a great job." And it's just like, okay, you cannot get too high. You cannot let that go to your head and get big headed, right? What did Mr. Johnson or Gary Lunny, for those of us who went to Rio Hondo, I think they talked about scratching their head out here because, you get a little big headed. It's very simple to do so. And so many times when we get compliments, maybe it does go to your head. Maybe in the dating world, right? When you first start dating, you're getting these great compliments from someone, and maybe you start to get a little bigger head and just like, wow, maybe I am great. I am awesome. Right. And I've never been that guy, from the sense of, I'm always like, I'm pretty shy for the most part. I'm very passive, not passive aggressive sometimes, but I just, it's hard for me to take compliments. I'm not trying to be humble here by any means. Trust me. It's just like, it makes me almost uncomfortable at times. And so it's been a little easier for me, but I see the people out there. I see the sports world or social media. And it's just like, oh man, you're so great. And you're like, you know what? I am great. I am wonderful. We live in this society now of self-praise, right? And we have to, man, everyone's a winner. Oh man, it's just like, look how great you did, and it's not about we always just do the things that you feel or how you feel. And it's like, that's not real, man. That's not life. Like, a big part of life is doing things you don't want to do because they're maybe hard or annoying or whatever. It's part of being a productive citizen, if you will. So don't let compliments get to your head. And then the second part, don't let criticism get to your heart. When I first started, officiating at a higher level, I used to really get down because the criticism, and you just like, man, I don't know if I can take this, like getting so down because you want to do a good job. You're trying hard and you think you see things, and then the relentless attacks that come at you, and you're just like, I'm never going to be good enough. And one friend of mine told me, you're similar to this. You're never as good as you think, and you're definitely never as bad as you think. Now, some guys, maybe they just don't know how to accept those things, but for the most part, that's been true. And I feel that way with, the criticism that goes to your heart. I think for those of us that care, when we're criticized at work, for instance, our boss gets after us, like, a lot of time, I would say a lot of times, sometimes you're just like, why is he yelling at, why this isn't my fault or whatever. But if you're real and you look within, you're like, no, I really messed up here. If you're honest self-assessment there, then yeah, you should care a little bit. It should matter to you if you mess up at work, if you let someone down in your family or your friends or whatever. You should care. If you don't care, it's going to show, right? And that's the fine line really of criticism, is like showing you care or caring about fixing mistakes, but at the same time, you can't let it wreck you. When someone tells you, hey, you messed up, how could you do that? I talked about that last week, right? And asking the question why, specifically my dad, when like we would get in trouble as kids, why'd you do that? There should be some self recollection, again, looking within and being like, I can't believe I did that. I messed up, and you should care. I'm not saying you got to cry every time. I remember being a competitive in sports, right? And when we lost games, I cried, man. I was always a wreck. I hated losing so much. And so I think that's important, but you also can't get too deep into that stuff where, every little criticism that comes your way, you need to receive it, accept it, but acknowledge it, but not let it get you into a place where you can't function anymore. So there's, again, back to society and how there's so much of that now. You criticize people now, and it's just like, how can they do that? I'm an emotionally, I'm a wreck emotionally, my mental health, because someone criticized me. Oh my goodness. It's like, those are people that let criticism get to their heart and their head, in my opinion. So I think they're great words to live by. Don't let compliments get to your head, and don't let criticism get to your heart, because I've been on both sides of that coin, if you will. And I have not let, I've, as I've grown older, we'll say I've been a little bit better at my reactions to those things, kind of the whole, oh man, yeah, I did mess up. All right, well, it doesn't matter now. You gotta turn the page and move on. Let me see. I'm trying to write that down. Who, person, heart, and compliments to head. I want to see it. I thought I wrote this down, but sometimes you start up a pod and you're like, what? Who said that? Quote by Roy. No, that's Roy T. Bennett. Who said this? Lisa Tierkirst. See, this is another funny thing for me when I look up a quote, because I love quotes. And it says like 4 or 5 different people said it. And it's like, wait a minute, come on, guys, this should be easy to figure out. Why is that happening? So anyway, compliments to your head. And what did I say? Don't let compliments go to your head, and don't let criticism go to your heart. There's a happy medium in there. You should care enough where criticism matters to you, and you should be humble enough, I think, to not let compliments get you too big-headed or think that you just got it all figured out. Because as soon as you do that, look out for more criticism, because you will definitely be messing up soon. Another quote I wrote down that I wanted to just discuss briefly as I kind of wrap things up here is, COVID is pretty much over. I've talked about this here and there, and I've kind of been a little relentless about it, because for years, man, news media and certain groups just relentless on us for the way we behaved, our overlords. And some people just were like, oh, they care about us, or they're gonna take care of us and everything. And I just, the whole time, the number one reason, one of the main reasons I didn't get the vaccine right away was I didn't feel I needed it. When the whole COVID thing came out, it was spreading like wildfire, and the body bags and the death counts, and now they fudged all that, and right, they some of their coverage and everything was just totally ridiculous. But I just remember going, okay, this thing, you get a 99% chance of survival. Like, all right, most of us will be fine. And there's things we could have done better, way health wise or whatever. I definitely could have lost weight and done better in that regard and everything. But I just didn't fear it. I remember seeing my dad is someone who I think for most of us, our fathers give us this, is when you see your dad, or things you learn from your dad is to not be afraid. And when I saw kind of my dad, just not just COVID, but like anything, just in my mind, in my eyes, my dad's fearless. And so it's always like, man, if he's that calm guy in the room, and if he is not worried or scared about something, then it just always gave me this comforting, soothing feeling about me. Like, okay, cool. My dad's not worried. I'm not going to be. And so that was the number one thing for me that I didn't even think about. I was like, what are you getting a vaccine? Okay, if you're older, whatever, fine. But like, what are you scared of? And then as time went on and it became more of a, you will do this, you must do this, then it's like, wait a minute, now we got some serious issues. And now this is a lot more than health. You're preaching health. But anyway, I go into all this, and I don't want to get into too big of a diatribe or whatever, but we had a saying in officiating, specifically football, because in football, the clock's running usually with a team up by a significant amount of points in the score difference. And we used to say, when a game is screaming to be over, just let it end. Let it end. For example, don't go throwing a bunch of penalty flags when it's, under 2 minutes left and the game is trying to end. And if you extend the game that should not be extended, you make frustrated kids, adults out there stay out there longer. Bad things could happen. So right when a game is screaming to be over, let it end. Maybe you you pass on a little bit of an offside on a team that was is losing by a lot. It had no effect on the play. Maybe there's a big hold and you're just like, all right, we're going to let that one pass. We're going to let these kids get on the bus, right? We're not going to slow down the process. Let the game end. And I bring that up because that's how I feel about COVID, specifically Democrats in COVID. And some of them are still holding on to this thing, this whole control and this whole, they will not end the whole health emergency, right? They're especially here in California, right? They say, oh, we're going to end it. We're going to end it in a few months. Well, why don't you end it now? And most people have gone about their lives. You don't see as many masks anymore. And whatever you do with your life, your body, however you want to live, fine. I'll do your thing, man, but just don't restrict others and then say, well, you don't care about other. Anyway, you guys have heard my opinions on that. But when a game is screaming to be over, let it end. All right. COVID's over. It's been over. And I shouldn't say COVID. I should say the lockdown, as the great Dennis Prager always says, because that's what it was. It was the reaction to all this, not the virus itself. Did the virus exist? Yes, of course it existed. It went through everyone, like not everyone, but a lot of us said, I mean, other than, the doctor, the doctor, for some reason, me, the uneducated dude was just like, didn't think much of it. Like, all right, we're probably all going to get it. And most of us did. Most of us did, and we go about our lives. There's nothing you could do to prevent some of it, and that's the game that's now played. Is like some people who've gone about all these things, so they continue to mask by themselves in cars and all these different things. Is they think that what they're doing is working, when if you just went about your life and didn't do any of those things, then it may not be an issue anyway. I don't know what I'm trying to say exactly. I'm just saying that when a game is screaming to be over, let it end. And I feel that's how we are now here with COVID. Like, still, for the most part, we're normal, but every now and then something will pop up, right? The hospitals and it's slowly getting better here in California. Most of the country's still laughing about it. Like, really? You guys still do that stuff? But when a game is screaming to be over, let the game end. Much like this podcast should end right now, because I've kind of been, I don't know, not on my best game. I've been rusty, we'll say, and didn't have a ton of things to talk about, but I thought I'd bounce around to a few random topics today and get to them. And I'm glad I got to get a podcast in tonight here on Sunday for this week. About 45 minutes. We'll take it. That's kind of where I want to be with things. But hopefully you guys stuck through it and were able to tolerate me once more. I'll be back next weekend, probably is when I'll do another pod. Got to get downstairs. The Kings are playing the St. Louis Blues. And man, playoff hockey is around the corner. Can't wait for that. Where did March go? And by the way, congrats to San Diego State, Florida Atlantic, Miami, and Connecticut as your final 4 teams for next Saturday's big event there in Houston. I think it's awesome that San Diego State and Florida Atlantic are in this thing and could possibly be the national champions. I mean, that one of those teams. Let's see. No, they don't. Yeah, they do play each other. So either Florida State, Florida Atlantic, or San Diego State is going to be in the national championship game. Like, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Some say college basketball is watered down, but I still love it. I love the tournament. It's been awesome. UCLA, what a tough loss that was to Gonzaga. I feel for you. I really do. USC just got punched in the throat by the Michigan State Spartans and embarrassed, quite frankly. That was a tough game to watch, but some great games throughout the tournament, buzzer beaters, huge upsets. Teams again you've never heard of. Fairleigh Dickinson, the first who beat they beat Purdue, right? Their second ever time a 16 has beat a 1. Man, let's do it again next year. Can't wait. Already scheduled the days off of work to miss those days, and also got to go see Valerie do some bagpiping down in Orange County on St. Patrick's Day also. But man, just a fun time of year. We're finally getting some sunshine, I think. I'm pretty sure the rain is gone. Maybe we'll get a little bit more here throughout the week, but hey, whatever happens, happens. And the packages will be to you in a timely manner. This much, I promise you. Guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Get Home Safe podcast. I'll be back next week, God willing, as long as I can get my act together and get more consistent with this whole thing, as I promised you guys. I might also take a break here. So I don't know. I can't make any promises. I'm just here on the pod rambling away, and it's good to get an episode out, even if it is a quick one, 2 weeks apart. I'll be back. I promise. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy the Final Four next Saturday. A great Saturday afternoon. A great tradition, I should say, followed up by the national championship game on Monday. So that's probably what we'll do, is react to all that next week. So the pod might be Tuesday, it might be Sunday. I don't know. I will keep you posted. But guys, as always, no matter what you're doing, whether out on the town or rounding third base, get home safe.